Have you ever wondered, can turtles crawl out of their shells like in cartoons? If the answer is yes, then congratulations. You're about to discover one of the biggest misconceptions about turtles. That seemingly simple backshell is actually an evolutionary marvel. Not an outer coat, but an actual part of the body's spine. Sounds strange, right? So can turtles shed their shells after all? What are their shells made of? And why did these creatures develop such a bulky armor? In today's video, we'll decode the secrets of the turtle shell, something that has not only helped turtles survive for hundreds of millions of years, but has also been a source of endless debate among scientists for over a century. When mentioning turtles, the first image that comes to many people's minds is the hard shell on the back, the most characteristic symbol of this animal. But not everyone knows the turtle shell is not a simple outer shell like the thick shell of a crocodile or the hard skin of an armadillo. On the contrary, it is a real bony structure formed from the ribs and spine of the turtle itself. Anatomically, the turtle shell consists of two main parts, the dorsal shell and the ventral shell. The dorsal part of the shell is formed from the expansion and fusion of the ribs and spine, while the ventral part is a combination of the lower ribs, called the costal periosteum, and the supporting bone tissue. Over millions of years of evolution, these bones gradually expanded, bent, and connected to each other, forming a solid mass that covers the body. Not unlike a biological armor, what is special is that in turtles, the spine and ribs are not located inside the body like in most other vertebrates. Instead, they are attached directly to the shell, which makes it impossible for turtles to pull out of their shells, as they often do in cartoons. Turtles and shells are a unified whole, just as humans cannot separate their spines from their bodies. It is the combination of the special bone structure and the protective outer layer of tissue that creates an extremely effective defense system for turtles, whether they live in water or on land. This is also the starting point for a series of interesting scientific questions about the origin, function, and evolution of this strange shell. One of the biggest questions that has puzzled scientists for more than 100 years is which part of the turtle shell evolved first, the dorsal shell or the ventral shell. This is not just a morphological detail, but the key to deciphering the entire evolutionary history of turtles. In 1887, the oldest turtle fossil ever found, the Progonocales species, amazed paleontologists. This fossil had both the dorsal and ventral shells, making it impossible to determine which part appeared first. The question remained unanswered until the early 20th century, when biologists began studying the development of baby turtles in eggs. Observations showed that the ventral shell formed before the dorsal shell in the embryonic stage. This discovery led to a new hypothesis that in evolution, the ventral part may have been the first part to develop into a shell. However, this is still just speculation. For nearly a century, no fossils were found to support this hypothesis. This led to the theory gradually fading away and giving way to other evolutionary models, such as the turtle shell originating from dermal armor that gradually merged into the ribs and spine. It was not until 2008 that a shocking discovery was made in Guizhou Province, China, the fossil of Odontochelys semitestachia, an ancestor even older than Progonochelys, which lived about 220 million years ago. What is special is that this species only had a ventral shell without a complete dorsal shell. This is the first and clearest evidence that the ventral shell evolved before the dorsal shell. This discovery not only helped settle the century-long debate, but also laid the foundation for new hypotheses about the original purpose of the turtle shell, which may not have been for defense. In addition, the fact that Odontochelys is found alongside marine fossils such as ammonites and conodonts suggests that it lived in an aquatic environment, contrary to the previous view that turtles evolved on land. This is an important piece of the puzzle that helps to reshape the ecological origins of turtles. We often think of turtles as having a shell to protect them from predators, and that's true, but only for their current role. While many people think that this is why shells evolved in the first place, modern scientists think that the truth may be quite the opposite. A major discovery in 2016 in South Africa completely changed the paleontological perspective. The fossil of Unatosaurus africanus, an ancient ancestor of turtles that lived about 260 million years ago, revealed a surprising clue. The species had very thick, flat ribs that extended to the sides but lacked a complete shell. It also had extremely developed forelimbs, well suited for burrowing underground. From there, paleontologist Tyler Lyson and his colleagues put forward a bold hypothesis. Turtle shells did not originally evolve for defense, but to aid in digging. In dry environments, hiding underground helped turtle ancestors avoid extreme heat and environmental threats. To do this effectively, they needed broad, strong ribs to support their bodies when digging, as well as to withstand the force of rocks and soil. However, the expansion of the ribs came at a high price. It reduced the flexibility of the body, affecting the ability to move and even the process of breathing. Unlike other vertebrates, which use the expansion of the ribs to breathe, turtles had to adapt by using their abdominal muscles to pump air into their lungs. This special structure made turtles slower, making them easier targets for predators. And it was this slowness that created evolutionary pressure. The digging rib cage gradually merged and covered the body, becoming a biological armor to compensate for the loss of speed. In other words, the turtle shell was not originally a defensive armor, but a tool skeleton evolved to serve the needs of survival underground. Only later, under the influence of natural selection, did this structure change its purpose to protect the body from predators. This is a classic example of the principle of multi-purpose evolution in biology, similar to how dinosaur feathers initially provided warmth and later were used for flight when they evolved into birds. Today, the turtle shell is more than just a hard protective suit. It is also a versatile tool that helps turtles adapt to many different habitats. Thanks to hundreds of millions of years of evolution, the structure of turtle shells has become extremely diverse, sophisticated, and serves many functions far beyond simple defense. For example, sea turtles often have a flat and smooth dorsal shell, which reduces drag when moving through the water. This allows them to swim faster, saving energy when migrating thousands of kilometers across the ocean. In contrast, Galapagos tortoises have a saddle-shaped shell that curves upwards, a special feature that helps them stretch their necks high to graze on leaves and even turn themselves over when they are turned upside down. Some turtles have also developed the ability to breathe through their shells. Examples include musk turtles, soft-shell turtles, and Australian striped-necked turtles, which can absorb oxygen through blood vessels near the surface of their shells or anus, a form of shell breathing that helps them survive longer underwater, especially when hibernating. In addition, a 2002 study by physiologist Donald Jackson found that North American soft-shelled turtles can survive without oxygen when hibernating under ice, thanks to their ability to use bicarbonate from their shells to neutralize lactic acid produced during anaerobic sugar breakdown. This is an extremely rare mechanism that allows turtles to withstand long periods of hypoxia without suffering endogenous poisoning. These uses show that the shell is not an evolutionary obstacle, but an extremely sophisticated biological structure, helping turtles not only survive but also thrive in the harshest environments on the planet. From arid deserts to deep oceans, from high mountains to the bottom of cold glaciers, the turtle shell, though it has evolved over hundreds of millions of years, is not the final destination. In the natural world, evolution never stops, and turtles are no exception. What will happen to this strange shell in the future? Will it continue to get thicker, thinner, or develop entirely new functions? In fact, turtle shells are still changing, both in shape, structure, and function, to adapt to increasingly harsh living environments. For example, some species of sea turtles today show signs of reducing shell weight to save energy for long-distance migrations. Meanwhile, some species of land turtles facing urbanization and pollution pressures are showing changes in shell size and thickness to suit the artificial environment. In addition, New challenges such as climate change, human encroachment, and exotic predators could impose new selective pressures for turtle shells to adapt to become faster, lighter, or even to store energy or minerals as human bones do for calcium. Evolutionary biologists have hypothesized that in the next million years, turtles living in extreme environments could develop shells that are highly insulating or change their color to absorb or reflect heat like a gecko. More than just a protective wall, the turtle shell is now seen as a flexible, evolutionary platform where a host of complex functions converge: mechanical, physiological, metabolic, and even environmental. And every small change that occurs today in the way turtles breathe, move, or cope with climate change could be the start of a major evolutionary breakthrough in the future. The turtle shell was once misunderstood as a simple coat, but now it is a living testament to how nature is always more creative than human imagination. And perhaps millions of years from now, when people look back, they will see this shell not as a symbol of slowness, but as a masterpiece of evolution. Unbelievable, right? A tiny shell on the back of a turtle contains a miraculous evolutionary journey lasting more than 200 million years. From a burrowing tool to a protective armor, and then becoming an indispensable part of breathing and survival. Turtles may move slowly, but nature's creativity is always moving forward strongly. What about you? How do you think turtle shells will evolve in the future? Will there be turtles that grow shells that can change color or cool themselves in the heat? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Cosmic Y is always ready to listen and explore the most interesting hypotheses with you. If you find this video interesting, don't forget to subscribe to the Cosmic Y channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next discovery videos. Because this universe is full of strange things, and Cosmic Y will always be with you to find the answers.